This next exercise is our career purpose worksheet. Why the hunt? Why now? In potential contrast to what might be considered a more philosophical and deeper questions about purpose we've just done in the last section, these questions are much more tactical. Find the career purpose worksheet in your Hunt workbook. This is a collection of questions I've created with partners and conversations over decades of coaching executives and students across various life stages on their hunt. These are influences and factors when you consider your next move, and important to know where your head and heart are on some of these questions. Just one page and 3 sections to help you consider what matters to you most. Not all these questions, though, will be necessarily useful to you, so please pick the ones that you want to answer. You'll find the huge or nothing questions. The reason I've called them this is that after coaching hundreds of people, is that these questions might be huge to some of you and absolutely nothing and irrelevant to others. Where you want to or need to live, your partner or family situation, your faith and identity may or may not be huge considerations in your search. Take some time and mark and jot some answers down for the ones that really resonate, those gating items. There might also be something that is really huge for you that is not on my list, so please put that down. What are the non-negotiable parts of your hunt? Second listed are some of what I think are the best tactical questions that have been used over the years to help you understand the why or underlying motivations of your hunt. First one there is, what problems are you passionate about solving in the world? And linked to this, who do you want to help and serve by solving these problems? This links to the bigger purpose questions of the other sheet, but lets you get more specific. Do you want to do X, helping Y, or solving or helping B? Second question, should these problems be core to your next team's mission or just part of what they do? For example, let's say climate change really matters to you. You want to work on addressing the climate crisis. Ask yourself if it's critical for you to work at an organization dedicated to mitigating climate as a part of their core function. Do you have to work for a solar power company? Do you want to work out in the field to protect wetlands directly? Or does working at a company whose primary mission is not solving climate change, but climate change mitigation still important to how they operate? Such as, say, an apparel firm like Patagonia. If Patagonia ceased to exist, there would be less emissions, but one might argue they're one of the better or best companies to make clothes if you care about the climate issue. What feels like a meaningful way to earn a living while advancing your larger goals? Third question, would you prefer to learn from best-in-class organizations in your field, or would you relish the challenge of working for one that needs most improvement, a fixer-upper, if you will? The idea is to think about if you'd be more motivated to learn from the best or be active in helping a struggling organization turn around. And that answer may well differ over the course of your career. Fourth one here, do you know if you prefer working consulting or client-side? Think about the difference between roles that are analogous to consulting versus client-side types of roles. Hugely different energies involved, energy patterns. With consulting, there are the peaks of delivery, and then you hand it over, and the project becomes theirs. Whereas for the client side, there's maybe a more continuous constant pressure, and you can always hire some consultants to help. The client side work may be more repetitive and the same over time, while consulting may have repetitive ways of helping clients, but the specific client could vary. Does it matter to you, and what kind of workflow feels better to you? Fifth one here, small versus large organization, 6-1 startup versus established. There might be many more tactical questions like these that might help tease out and articulate what you really want to do and who for. I encourage you to think about other tactical questions here that help identify what kinds of organizations or roles are important to you and match well with your skill set and your character. Remember, the decisions you're making here do not have to be forever, especially if your career has been or is non-linear, like mine. But these questions should help you get clear on what you want from your next move. The last section is more of a reminder that there is a category of questions that we do tend to fixate on, But these questions often are not as important as first feared. There will always be roles requiring specific experience, but as you rise, you may find that being clear on the combination of what you can bring can create a chemistry, if you will, that meets or beats formal direct experience. Do you have an industry sector or two in mind that you'd like to work in? Sometimes the problem you really care about might have solutions across sectors beyond your initial idea. Sometimes your direct experience maps onto particular roles, and if this is obvious, you can note this here. We will cover later going beyond specific job vacancies and limiting your search to only those jobs you're 100% confident you are qualified for. Also, it may well be good for you to consider if you're being flexible enough on, say, the industry sector or the corporate form, non-profit versus for-profit versus government, and more. So, to summarize, the huge or nothing questions tend to, I think, help you keep your eye on the big life pressures and opportunities, and not to ignore who you are. The more tactical why questions hopefully really help with filtering. And the third column may help, but alternatively may expose where you could have been spending too much focus prior.